Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome to Disney Planning Insights. Through creative content and live shows, we explain the hidden details of the Disney experience so that our clients can execute memorable adventures. Together with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel, we have helped hundreds of clients plan, book, and prepare for magical Disney vacations. Let our experience help you avoid common planning mistakes and maximize the enjoyment on your next Disney trip.
I'm here. I did it. This is not a show about Dora. We did, yep. And I was 2 points away from a playmat. Got all the way to 18, had win on the board, and then Pirate's Life happened, and all of a sudden one Maui turned into two Mauis, and my kingdom for a Zeus never happened. And oh, nice. What? Wayne Bergeron, what is he doing in Pendleton? Oh, that's funny. Can you hear me? Can't hear Matt, but can hear Peter. Oh, it's your problem. He was talking about Wayne Bergeron being at his kids' band thing over the weekend, who is the trumpet in the Incredibles.
There we go. Oh, I'm in there.
Matt fixed himself. He's back.
I am back now. I can see myself. Okay, Jay, thanks for jumping on and letting us know about that. That yuck. I hate when I can't see my Yeti thing. So yeah, so Wayne Bergeron. So Wayne Bergeron of Incredibles, and about 500 other movie credits, fame, was at Pendleton Heights. Did a guest spot with part of the bands, or with three of the bands at the end of the night, and did clinics with a bunch of the students on Saturday. Dude is super down to earth, really cool, really awesome for the kids to see, and then unbelievable on trumpet, absolutely unbelievable on trumpet. I may, time allowing, pull up one of the videos because they did Friend Like Me and When You Wish Upon a Star with the Director's Jazz Orchestra, and just phenomenal, absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, so that was my Disney fun over the weekend was Wayne Bergeron in person. So
That was honestly more Disney fun than what I had.
all right, so let's talk a little bit about the news. I'm going to let you kind of lead off a little bit with what's going on with the DAS Pass situation and now the lawsuit that's come out about Disney favoring intellectual disabilities over physical disabilities and kind of everything that's going on with that.
Well, you kind of summed it up there, so I can just expand on that a little bit. But yeah, you basically summed it up there. Disney, there is a class action lawsuit over people getting denied for the DAS system that whether they had it in the past or needed it and got denied by the little vetting system that now exists is causing a commotion because they do have a lawsuit against them with people. It is exactly what Matt said. If you read the verbiage on Disney's website, it talks about, and I'm not quoting verbatim, so don't quote me verbatim, but it says something to the effect of this pass is meant for individuals, and it says a phrase to the effect of intellectual abilities such as autism. Now, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, they expanded the language and added a couple more things. But really, really, the big push is away from the physical impairments because their justification, if you will, is that, well, we have mobility services to assist those individuals, and those individuals can sit and wait in the line, and for the rides that they can't wait in the line, they can get passbacks. They don't need to have a DAS set up. A DAS is only for individuals who mentally or emotionally or intellectually can't wait in the line.
Yeah.
And I would argue against that because an individual who's you don't know what's going on, right? And so an individual in a wheelchair or has some other type of mobility different ability is going to have a hard time navigating through some of those lines that they deem acceptable, because some of those lines are just straight up not acceptable. Like Frozen. Let's take Frozen Ever After, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That is a scooter accessible line. No, it is not. I mean, it is an absolute, like, cows have more space in the slaughterhouse than what you have in the Frozen Ever After line.
Well, and on top of that, we're back to the times of cast members constantly reminding you to fill in all the available space. So yeah, it may be a scooter accessible line if there's nobody else in the line, but when you have to fill in all that space
in front of you and the group behind you, and the kid's not paying attention, and then the kids behind you are walking past you as you're trying to go around the tight turns, and it's
Jake also brought up
that's what's going on.
Jake also brought up Ratatouille. 100% Ratatouille.
Oh my god, yeah, Ratatouille is.
Yeah.
I mean, really anything with that down and back queuing system is an absolute nightmare, and these are all deemed accessible to scooters, and the truth of it is, unless you have a dang near like zero turn rascal, no, they're not. Not even the park scooters are really, I mean, they're just too big, too bulky, and some of the rides just don't work, and that causes a lot of anxiety and stress. And so, I don't, regardless of anything, because not to really speak about who's right, who's wrong, but, at the end of the day, if you're waiting your time, like, why can't more things be included in that focus, right?
And to me, as far as, I have used the DAS system with you. And the way that the DAS system works, it's not like an automatic lightning lane. It is like
you have to sit and wait, and you can only have one at a time.
It's like a rider swap, is what it is.
Sure. Now you can argue, yeah, but those people don't have to wait in the line. Right. That's why they've said that they need this service because, well, they would be waiting in line. They're sitting nearby at a restaurant just having drinks or whatever else they might be doing, but you book one at a time. When you scan in, you can then book your next one. So the biggest abuse that could happen is the fact that, well, you're getting onto the ride, your time is already waiting for your next ride. And speaking from personal experience, the same way that you just said, even when a DAS is booked, the amount of times that I arrive for my return time, hour, half hour later, because just you get there differently and you get there in a different amount of time. And so individuals that get off and then hustle to the next line, well, some people just can't do that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, Disney's trying to shrug this off that the claim is without merit. But I really think this is something that they're going to have to struggle with, is kind of, what is the line? What is that line that they draw in the sand? Because with disabilities, it's very, very few times black and white. There is a lot of gray area when it comes to, even the difference of somebody that, has what is considered a complex, progressive diagnosis like multiple sclerosis. The difference between two people with MS can be vastly different. So, I think, is DAS a needed system? 100% yes. But I don't think there's any good or bad way to go about utilizing it. It's just, you've got to be able to address those bad actors, and you can 100% see who the bad actors are, because they're the ones that are constantly ride, and then they're back next weekend doing the same thing again. You have a way to track that.
Yeah, you could easily look at the history of the past and see, exactly what you said, who's just boom, 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 boom all day long. And then, maybe send them, but, then you're going to have the exact same legal issue. Well, now you're targeting and,
So Jay brings up...
you're giving us reason to, because you're overusing the system that's in place. I don't know.
Jay brings up the IBCES system that Universal uses. Have you used the system over at Universal?
I have, yeah. And that one, and honestly, that's what the DAS used to be at World, is very similar to the Universal system. And really the only difference is Disney brought it into the app, which is honestly where some of the abuse started happening, because it used to be the same. So the way that Universal looks, it's got a little card, and you go up to the ride exit and they write down when you're going to be returning.
Uh-huh.
And then when you return, they send you in through the express pass line, and then you have to get out and you have to take the card over to the next ride that you want to ride and get it signed. And that's what Disney used to be. Disney used to be, you would go up to the ride exit that you want, or into the ride entrance that you want, scan at the station, and they would set you up a return.
Uh-huh.
And still use the magic bands and all that stuff. But
yeah,
the abuse started when Disney brought it down to be bookable in-app. Because now you can just scan in. So let's say you scan into something like, let's just use something with a big pre-show, like a Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Or even like a Haunted Mansion, right? Because you've got to get in, then you've got to watch the pre-show, then you've got to wait in a little line, right?
Yeah.
So, or not Haunted Mansion, sorry, Tower of Terror, right? So just a couple. Think about anything with a pre-show, even with like Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway, right? You queue up down the ramp, and then you watch a pre-show, and then you queue up some more. Well, as soon as you scan your band in, you are able to book the next ride.
So you get that 2 minutes or whatever.
App.
Yeah.
You're right. So you get you get a 15 to 20. I mean, in some cases, you get almost a 30-minute head start at your next line. And that's where the abuse started. There was no issue. Well, first of all, the abuse started when they took away the free fast passes, because then that drove more people into
how do we get around this?
Using a system that's meant for individuals that need it. And all of a sudden there was a flood of DAS requests, which then caused this in the first place. So the true fact of the matter is, if you want to get down and dirty with it, is Disney caused this because they took away, as we talked about on last week's episode, they took away things that were being offered as perks to their, and like, even so everybody got the system, right? Everybody got the fast pass system, and individuals that stayed on site got a bonus because they could book their ride 60 days out. Even if they were to just bring that back and let guests staying on site book their ride 7 days out, like, you would see an immediate
decline in abuse.
The lawsuit would go away. There would be nobody abusing the DAS system anymore. There would be no reason for this to be a topic of conversation on the show. Mm-hmm. It's they did this to themselves.
No, 100%. I'm finishing up cake and ice cream, so.
I know, I see that. So yeah, the universal system, basically, if Disney were to take the DAS system off the app, and that's what is being talked about with that universal system, you have to go to the exit, you have a single ride. Now, you can go up to a new ride and have them scratch that out and get a new one on top of it, but you can do that in the Disney DAS system. You can cancel what you have booked and book something else. But that's the problem. The problem is they made it really convenient for people, and then between taking away stuff and making it really convenient, it led to an open for abuse of the system.
Yeah. Let's move on a little bit. We got some more news going on. So the Villain show at Hollywood Studios got its page finally. So it means that it's coming. We don't have a start date for it yet. We know it's going to be sometime. I would imagine like late spring, early summer now, with it already having the page up. But lots of concept art, and then originally it had a runtime on it. They did take the runtime down. Originally the runtime was about 40 minutes, and now the runtime of the show isn't on the page, so we'll say it's officially unlisted right now, but it sounds like it's going to be one of the longer shows that Disney has on property, which would be really cool. I mean, super cool to have another long show at Hollywood Studios with the return of the Under the Sea show, with the Beauty and the Beast show, with the Stunt Spectacular, the Indiana Jones show. There's a lot going on at that park, and bringing back those shows really helps the flow of that park. So kind of, what are your thoughts on the new show, and what they're doing over there?
Well, first of all, did you see where it's located?
Yeah, it's Lightning McQueen.
Yeah. So, yep, Lightning McQueen Racing Academy is gone, and this Villain show is coming in, which was also one of the ideas that you and I had for where they could relocate the Muppets.
Yep.
So first of all, let's just throw that out there. But outside of like the location of it and being a little bit of bummer, because Lightning McQueen Racing Academy was super cool, and it would have been great to see the Muppets move over since they're taking over Rock and Roller Coaster. It would have been great to kind of like make a little Muppets courtyard, maybe then kind of re-theme that area into a Muppets courtyard area.
I feel like it's still coming, and I've got a rumor after you kind of get through this. So
it could. I could see them putting it in this area while they then maybe get it a more permanent location, and then move it over, somewhere over by like the Launch Bay area, or I mean, One Man's Dream is really cool, but could that theater be better used for a villain stage show? Absolutely. There's 8 people for each One Man Dream show. So, but anyway, I'm really, really excited about this. It does say summer 2025. I thought I had read about an opening date, but maybe I was thinking about that for something else. But really, really excited for sure. This is going to be a really, really cool show. It's just very intriguing what it's going to be. And it'll also be really cool to see if they offer just a bit of villain meet and greet around that show as well. Out in that area outside of that pavilion, perhaps. It'll also be curious with a show that long. I mean, I can't imagine them doing more than like 4 or so a day.
It's got to be like, I would imagine it's going to be like Lion King. I mean, you'll probably get a morning show and then maybe 3 in the afternoon. Or maybe 2 in the morning.
I'm just thinking about that building. I mean, Lightning McQueen was the perfect show for in there. That is not a huge building. So it'll be intriguing to see what they do and how they stage it.
So Shannon and I talked about it a little bit. I don't know how much build out they had to do for that animatronic. Because you figure that animatronic's completely behind stage. So that backstage area is at least as long as the McQueen animatronic.
Right.
So, there's a possibility that they got some room to push that stage back, open up some more seating, make it a relatively, like a medium-sized theater, probably about the size of the Little Mermaid Theater, I would imagine. And then kind of go from there. But rumor time here, because Disney seems to be taking away things that people really like. There is a rumor floating around right now that Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy is not done at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, it might just move over to Magic Kingdom and go into
the Hall of Presidents.
Yeah.
Is the rumor that's going around. So Hall of Presidents would house McQueen's Racing Academy. Muppets 3D would come over to where the Villains Unfairly Ever After is going to be. The Villain show will relocate to Magic Kingdom in the Villains area, which may be starting construction this summer.
And that makes sense. Like, let's get the show figured out.
Yeah.
Then we'll put it because you can't figure out the show when it's now a huge draw to the new land in Magic Kingdom.
Exactly. You have to have something that's ready to go when that opens.
So I could do it, and honestly, the 40-minute show in Hollywood Studios, that's the last part that needs another 40-minute show.
Jake, I love you, man. He goes, like they would get rid of Hall of Presidents. Like they would get rid of Tom Sawyer Island. Like they would get rid of the Liberty Bell.
Like they would retheme Splash Mountain.
I mean, Disney right now is in the business of getting rid of things to replace them with things that don't make sense. So yes, I think everything is on the table unless it's got a mouse on it. And I think Hall of Presidents, and the Hall of Presidents rumor has been out there for about a year now, that it could be potentially replaced with a Muppets version of Hall of Presidents, and then now the McQueen's Racing Academy could be going in there as well. So yeah, there's a lot going around with Hall of Presidents, and I do feel like that is something that could be under consideration, because patriotism in this country is kind of a controversial topic again, and I think Disney's trying to distance themselves with anything that's controversial. So it is what it is. So, other news, what else do we got?
I read something last week, but I don't remember. It might have been the Villains thing. Something happened like Wednesday or Thursday of last week. Was that when the Villains thing dropped?
Yeah, that's when the Villains thing dropped. Disneyland Paris did an Avengers, or a Captain America Brave New World sequence as part of their Avengers drone show. It is something that they taped behind the scenes, is not going to be public. But if you go on DLP Report, you can check out the sequence. It is really, really cool. It has Red Hulk, has the new Captain America, all that kind of stuff. Disney Cruise Line shares new details on Duffy and the Friendship, and the Captain Jack Sparrow and the Siren Queen, 2 new stage shows that will debut on the Disney Adventure. Disney Adventure is the new boat that is going to set sail from Singapore later this year. So 2 new shows, one more focused at kids, and then a Pirates of the Caribbean show on a cruise ship. What a novel idea.
Here's what I got. So Jelly Rolls has officially set their closing date. It is in April. Cars Land is good. It passed those EPA issues that we talked about.
I hate that.
About a month ago.
But what pisses me off about that whole thing is they didn't change the plans at all.
Right.
They made no changes to the plans. They just greased the pocket a little different.
Paid the right amount of money. Let's see. Little Mermaid: A Musical Adventure has their webpage up. That happened on Friday, I think.
It's a Small World is going to have a change in the music for Disneyland's 70th anniversary. So Richard Sherman's last gift to Walt Disney Studios was a new verse for It's a Small World, and it is going to be added for the 70th anniversary celebration starting July 17th. So,
yep. Topiaries are going up for Flower and Garden.
Main Street Opera House will feature a new gallery highlighting Walt's dream of Disneyland, and exhibit highlighting the history of audio animatronics, and 30 items from the Walt Disney Family Museum will be featured in the lobby. Now, the Opera House is where they're going to be changing the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln into the One Man's Dream Walt animatronic thing as well. So nice. That's going to be super cool. I wish you were going a little bit later in the year just so you could see that and let us know how that goes.
No way, man. I get to see all the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, you get to see Luke. So
yeah, the Star Wars. We're going right a couple weeks after the new Star Wars stuff hits. So that's going to be pretty sweet.
A couple of new subscribers. Jake, thanks for subscribing over on YouTube. Big Show 62, thank you for the follow over on Twitch. Got about 10 minutes. You want to open some packs?
Or a top 3? I'm in for a...
We got a 10-minute top 3. Let's do it. Let me pull up our thing here real quick. I got a 10-minute top 3 in me.
If I'm 5 minutes late, it's okay. I just definitely can't stay and watch you rip open the packs.
Okay, sounds good. Well, it looks like we're doing a top 3, so thank you for watching the news with us. Let's get into the top 3. Business trip.
Did the people move around?
It does tingle a little bit. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Matt with the DPI podcast. Over on the other screen, I have Peter Salvadori with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel, and it is a top 3 night. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. If you haven't been here, we have a bag full of poker chips. I'm going to pull one out. We're going to figure out what we're going to rank tonight. And tonight's number is number 14. Number 14 is going to be... underappreciated rides. Your top 3 underappreciated rides. You've got 30 seconds.
Thinking about taking a trip to Disneyland, Disney World, maybe a Disney cruise, or one of the other amazing Disney destinations? Contact me at Princess of the Mouse, and I'd love to work with you on your itinerary to the most magical places in the world.
You can contact Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel on Facebook at PATM Disney Travel. All right, our top 3 tonight is underappreciated rides. I'm with you. This is
I'm saying attractions.
Okay, I can go with attraction. I'm down with that.
Getting out of vehicle. I'm going attractions.
I can get with that. If you're gonna go underappreciated attractions, I'll let you go with your number 3 first.
I mean, does it have to be rides? You tell me.
No, it doesn't have to be rides. I'm good with attractions.
It's hard to come up with underappreciated rides because most of the rides are pretty appreciated.
I think there's some underappreciated rides too.
Yeah,
But
you know what? Let's just stick with rides. Let's see what we do.
Okay.
My number three. It could be number two. It could be number one, but I want to talk about it. So my number three is going to be the People Mover over at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
I think that is an underappreciated ride. Lots of people just walk right under it and move on with their day. It is an absolute must for my family. It is just an absolutely fantastic ride. It is nice. You get a nice breeze. You get a nice scenic view of the park. It's a relatively long ride, clocking in at probably about a 5-minute experience if I go check it out. And here I'm going to find out. People Mover ride time is oh, it takes 10 minutes. Oh my gosh, way more than see, that's how relaxed I am. It just feels like 5. So you go all around Tomorrowland. You get to pop in to Space Mountain, which is really fun. You get to pop into Buzz Lightyear and check that out. You get some nice cool views from the side of Tron. You get to look in at some of the shops and other things. You get to go up and down that walkway. It is an absolute must for my family. We absolutely love People Mover. We always sit there, and when we're over in the Space Mountain Tron area, we always pop in that line. It's a quick line. It's an easy ride. It's relaxing to sit down for a little bit. You get some nice wind in your hair and a little bit of air conditioning in some of the buildings. So my number three, People Mover should be appreciated more than it is.
Yeah,
before it goes away like it did in Disneyland.
I'm gonna stay in the same park as you, and I'm gonna kind of do the same thing, but I'm gonna go all the way around the outside of the park, and I'm gonna start with Magic Kingdom Railroad as my number three. Magic Kingdom Railroad, you have stations kind of all over the park. One in Frontierland over there by Tiana's Bayou Adventure, one over in Casey Jr.'s Playland now, and then one at the front of the park. And basically, it's a train ride that takes you around the perimeter of the park. While you're going around the perimeter of the park, the conductor or one of the cast members on the train is giving you some background and some history and some talking points as you're going through different rides in different areas in the park. It's another one of those rides where, you know, maybe you just had a big heavy meal and you just need to sit down and just ride it off in something that's a little bit slower. You can jump on the train, take it around the park. Really cool ride, and just gets a different perspective of some of the rides that you know and love. So my number three is going to be the Magic Kingdom Railroad. Peter, let's go to our number twos.
I was listening to you talk about your number three, and then I forgot what I was going to say for my number two. Hold on. It's going to come back to me. Hold on. That is a good one, though, by the way. The railroad was a good one. Excuse me. I was going to do... I have 1 in 3 of the parks is what I was going to do. Where... Oh, my goodness. Hold on. I, quickly wrote it down. Where in the world is that? Oh, got it. I got it. Over in Hollywood Studios, I think an underappreciated ride is Star Tours. First of all, for a lot, was that going to be your number one?
No, it wasn't. I've got a really good number one.
Me too, but we'll see if I take it first. So Star Tours, wildly unappreciated. I mean, first of all, the queue alone is worth the ride.
It is 100%.
Right, like you get to start in the Forest of Endor, seeing the Ewok villages, and then you go into this huge. It's building itself as like a spaceport factory type deal, and I mean just the sheer amount of like little animatronics and statues and movie props and attention to detail as you're walking through this massive queue is already worth whatever small line you're going to wait in, because it never has a big line.
No.
Even though the line is massive in length, it's never massive in number of people you have to stand behind. And then the ride itself is a very enjoyable experience. People who don't like motion simulators give it the poo-poo, but it's so cool that you just get a random set of scenes on each ride. You could legitimately spend all day going just loop, loop, loop. Now, granted, this would get a little bit much even for me who's okay with simulators, but you could just go around and around and around, and you're going to ride a different ride, quote, a different ride, 15, 20 different times.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get all these different scenes because it has so many scenes.
And they continue to add.
This ride. You what?
And they continue to add scenes. They just added scenes from The Mandalorian. They added scenes from Ahsoka. They just continue to add scenes as new series come out. So it's something that's going to continue to evolve.
I'm adding in the immediate. I'm adding info. They have 26 different scenes right now, according to a quick look, which totally makes sense because exactly what you said, Matt. There's Kylo Ren scenes now. There's Rey scenes now. Like you go through her little Star Destroyer in Jakku as part of it's just so cool, and it's way underappreciated. We're going to talk about the top 3 of underappreciated rides. If Star Tours isn't on there, then it's not a good list.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that for my number 2 and let Matt tell us about his number 2.
Okay, my number 2, I'm going to go over to Epcot, and I'm going to bring up a sore subject from our last top 3, and I'm going to go with the American Adventure. The American Adventure is an animatronic show, basically of the ilk of like Hall of Presidents and that kind of thing, that is in the American Pavilion. And basically what it does is it tells the kind of invention of the country and goes through some stories as the country is coming of age. And just, it's a really, really well done history and a really, really well thought out story that they kind of follow through the show. Lots of animatronics. It's just, in the end, it's just a really, really good show. Get you out of the heat in the back of Epcot. It's got a nice runtime. Its runtime is easily 25 minutes. Just one of those, if you didn't know it was there, you're going to miss it type of things. So definitely something that I don't think enough people... 29 minutes. So a full half hour by the time that you go through the initial like pre-show that's outside and everything like that as well. So yeah, no, that's a great runtime for a show, and it's a huge theater.
It is massive. we hadn't gone and watched that in a long time, and we watched it the last time we went, and yeah, it is a massive theater. The only downside is that you have to finish your food and drinks prior to going into the theater.
You do.
That's the only downside.
But if you have your bottles of water, they don't.
Yeah, that's why I go to Epcot.
Yeah. But yeah, so my number 2 is going to be the American Adventure over at Epcot. So let's get into our number 1s. Peter, before you get your number 1, where can people find you?
Scrolling at the bottom of the podcast is a great place, or over on Facebook, just type in Princess and the Mouse, or find me, Peter Salvadori, and I'd be happy to work with you. As we talked about a couple episodes ago, times are a little bit slow. I got emergency spring break trips. I can help you out. I've got some availability there, and then would love to help you plan this summer or into this fall as all these new things start to come online. Love to help you out with it and talk you through all the ins and outs so that hopefully you can have a great time without spending too much money on it.
There you go. Okay,
my number 1, Matt. I have to. It's a requirement. I don't have a choice what my number 1 is going to be. My number 1, hands down, I'm going to stay in Epcot, and I'm going to go with Living with the Land.
Okay.
Living with the Land is my number 1 most underappreciated attraction in Disney World. I'm really happy with the way my list panned out also before I explain Living with the Land. And I also said attractions, but I did stick with all rides. So all 3 of mine were officially hop on the ride vehicle and go check it out. So Living with the Land is down there across from Soarin' in front of the Seasons Cafe area. It is the thing that everybody as they come down the escalator, turns away from the entrance to walk towards Soren or to grab a bite to eat.
Yep.
Or never even make it downstairs because they're going to Garden Grill. It is what Garden Grill rotates. When you see the little scenes as Garden Grill rotates, that's Living with the Land. Living with the Land is a great slow boat ride. You get in, you start with some scenes kind of talking about nutrients and kind of the interconnectedness of water along with various biomes and ecosystems. You ultimately get to the American farmland, and that once you get to the American farmhouse with the little dog barking on the porch, you then work your way into some scenes about agriculture and ultimately get into a series of greenhouses that have a bunch of food. And fun fact about all that food being grown, it is harvested and sent to the restaurants on property. And they do a ton of scientific research there. So you actually get to see some of the labs. And so a lot of the greenhouse space is being used to research grow techniques to forward the field of agriculture. So it is functional, informative, educational, and very, very practical all throughout. It is cool to see the hatcheries. It's cool to see the fun things they do. During all the different festivals, like during Flower and Garden, they'll highlight different flowers. During Food and Wine, they highlight different foods that you use. During the holidays, they run lights in there. So at night, it is absolutely gorgeous going in to those different greenhouses with the lights. And again, relaxing ride. It's going to be a nice break by the time you're done with all of it. And it is a hands down must do. And we've even done it multiple times on a trip where we're just like, let's go ride Living with the Land.
Yeah.
Love Living with the Land. Great attraction and definitely worth your time. Matt, what about you? What is your earth-shattering, groundbreaking number one? Hopefully I didn't take it from you.
You didn't. Your number one's good. I could have stayed in Epcot for Spaceship Earth. I think that's really underrated. But I'm going to go to Animal Kingdom, and I'm going to say Kilimanjaro Safaris. Kilimanjaro Safaris is a ride that I think a lot of people take for granted because it's in Animal Kingdom, and it's like, oh, why do I want to go on a zoo ride in Animal Kingdom? And it's because it is fantastic, especially if you do it at the right times. You do it at the wrong times, it is a dud. You do it anytime after about 11 o'clock in the morning, it's a dud. You get very few animals out. Unless it's cool. If it's super cool, you might be okay. But if it's getting into the summer, past 11 o'clock, the lions are asleep, the rhinos are gone, the elephants are gone, everything's gone. But if it's early in the morning, we try and make it one of the first things that we do when we get there. All of the animals are out. You're going to see everything. Everybody's going to be active and moving, and it makes it really worthwhile. So that means you really only have about 3 hours to appreciate this attraction every day. And that's why I feel like it's underappreciated, because so many people have a bad experience on it, and they're just like, oh, we just rode around in this vehicle and we really didn't get to see a whole hell of a lot because you did it at the wrong time. Living with the Land, or Kilimanjaro Safaris, is such a time-dependent ride and a weather-dependent ride that you really have to hit those for it to be an enjoyable attraction. So my number one in underappreciated rides and or attractions is going to be Kilimanjaro Safaris. Peter?
You know, as soon as you said Kilimanjaro Safaris, I was like, that's not underappreciated. There's tons of there's tons of people in line for that thing. You sold me, though. You sold me on the
Because I feel like it's one of those rides that it gets a bad rap because a lot of people just don't understand that you're dealing with animals that
are alive,
yeah,
and have free will.
Exactly, and don't necessarily have to be on the savannah all the time. They can go back to their little cages and say, yeah, I'm done for the day. Peace out. Mm-hmm. So Jake, before 11 on hot days, Kilimanjaro Safaris, definitely worth it. You'll get the giraffes will be out. The rhinoceros the rhinoceroses will be out. Rhinoceri?
Rhinoceri, right? Yeah.
The rhinoceros. The rhinos will be out. Elephants will be out. Lions will be out. You've got a better chance of seeing, what are those? The acabas?
Rhinoceros or rhinoceroses?
Rhinoceros or rhinoceroses. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
There we go. We
Again,
got the
man, I'm on it tonight. I got
the plural of rhinoceros is the controversial topic of the night.
Rhinoceroses, rhinoceros. There you go.
But yeah, definitely go early. Alligators are more active in the morning, just because those are all animals that are trying to conserve their energy for better things.
Fun fact about a group of rhinos: you can also call them a crash.
It's a crash, yes.
Yes, I remember learning about that on Kilimanjaro Safari.
And a tower of giraffes.
A tower, yes, a tower
Yep.
and a crash.
Yep.
Both facts that you might learn from your guide on Kilimanjaro Safaris.
Yep, and the guide is another really cool thing about you can have really good guides on Kilimanjaro Safaris as well. Just like having a good skipper on the Jungle Cruise. So.
Yeah, that is not an underappreciated attraction. That thing always has a 90-minute wait.
All right, Peter. Well, I know you got to go tonight, so thank you guys all for watching tonight. Hopefully you have an enjoyable week, and we will see you next Monday. Bye now. Hey, we had Peter with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel on tonight. We talked a little bit of the news and did a top 3 about underappreciated Disney attractions. Check it out. If you are looking for us on social media, you can find us in a lot of different places. Over on Facebook at DPI Podcast for the show page, at PATM Disney Travel for the travel account. Over on Instagram or Twitter X, you can find us at Disney Insights. Instagram, it's at Princesses and the Mouse. Thank you guys all for watching, liking, sharing, following, everything that you do to support the page. Have a wonderful week, and we will talk to you next Monday.